just in case you live under a rock and haven't noticed, it's literally spooky season, which means it's the second best part of the year, and I have to continue my yearly tradition of drawing some spooky fairy tales. This year we are going to be starting off with the 12 Brothers, which is actually a super spooky fairy tale. I wasn't expecting to be as weirded out by this one as I was, but it was just so random and strange that I felt like it was perfect to start us off with. So in this fairy tale, it starts off with a royal family, and there are 12 boys that are all brothers in this family, and the king actually really wants a daughter, and he's decided that if he has a daughter, he is going to have his 12 sons executed. This is kind of like a weird reversal of how things would have been politically, I guess, at the time, but it's really interesting to see this dynamic where this king has a family, and he's just ready to sacrifice all that if he gets what he wants, which is really similar to some stuff that may have been going on around the time that this fairy tale was developed. I don't know. It might be a slight reference to King Henry VIII, but I haven't really done any research to back that up. But anyways, there is eventually a daughter born, and the queen warns her sons of this, and they all run away. Eventually, however, their sister finds them later on, and they live together all in this cottage as this sort of, as a family. They're relatively normal kids after, I guess, getting away from their parents until something happens. And that horrible thing was that while the girl was home alone, she picked the 12 white flowers that were growing in the backyard/garden area, and then a witch appeared and said those 12 flowers had represented her brothers, and she had just cursed them accidentally to be turned into birds pretty much indefinitely, and the only way for her to break that spell was to not speak for 7 years, which of course the girl did because she must have felt like it was her fault. And while she was stuck out in the woods being quiet, a king came along and decided he wanted to marry her, which he did, but apparently his mom didn't like that very much. So some years later, the queen kind of accuses her of being a traitor, and the king falls for it and decides to have her burned at a stake. And at this point, just about 7 years have gone by, and at the last minute, she does get saved. Her brothers turn back to their normal selves right before them, and they kind of destroy the fire and save her. And then the evil mother character, the evil mother, is killed pretty dramatically. I had to look back at the book to see the exact way that she's put to death, but it says in my little book here that she was put in a barrel full of boiling oil and venomous snakes and died an evil death, and that's pretty strong, I gotta say. It's pretty serious. So I guess the moral of the story is don't pick flowers and don't accuse people of being a traitor or try to kill your sons. I don't know. I thought it was pretty messed up and interesting because it kind of feels like an amalgamation of different stories put together. The next fairy tale we are going to be taking a look at is, now forgive me if I screw up the pronunciation, but it's called Frau Trude, and it's about a little girl who is very nosy and disobedient to her parents, and she finds out about this strange woman in her community who's highly mistrusted and very sketchy. And her parents tell her never ever to go meet this woman, whose name is Frau Trude, by the way. And she decides she's going to go do it anyway. And as she walks up to Frau Trude's house, she sees 3 different men, one that's all red, one that's all green, and one that's all black. And she knocks on the door, and Frau Trude opens it and invites her inside. And she asks why the little girl is so scared, and she says it's because she saw these guys out in front of her house, and she kind of makes up, or Frau Trude kind of makes up excuses for them. And then finally the little girl says she saw someone in the house with flaming hair, and the witch says that was the devil himself, and Frau Trude turns the little girl into a log, and burns said log. And it's a very short story, as you can imagine. I think probably the kind of spookiness of this story is that a little girl does what little girls do, in that she meddles in other people's business, and she wants to find out if the rumors that her friends spread around are true, by investigating herself, and she ends up not getting to grow up. As a result, she never gets to live out her full life, and I think that's the sad part. She doesn't get really a chance for a redemption after disobeying her parents and not listening to their warnings, and I think that's kind of the spooky part, especially how like abrupt her disappearance would have been. It's just kind of sad more than anything, and like striking. I would like to give a very special shout out to Ashley and thank her for supporting me on Ko-fi. Thank you so much. That's it for this video. If you're wondering why it's so short, it's because I got sick about not halfway through, pretty much the last week I had to do it to finish this project. So it's a little shorter than I wanted. I wanted to have a third fairy tale that we could talk about, but unfortunately that's not the case. But anyways, I wish you all a happy Halloween, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!